Amouranth, the adult star who faked everything. Everything? If I remember correctly, Amouranth was the one that said she had an abusive husband who forced her to do all this explicit content. But once he left, like once he was out of the picture, she continued doing the same thing right after. Oh boy. Oh goody. Here we go. Here we go. Patrick, thank you for the gifted sub.
To put it simply, Amouranth is a woman best known for her
She's a woman? No way. That's an 1080p.
To put it simply, Amouranth is a woman best known for her endless Twitch streams and revealing outfits showing off
huge tracts of land
for nearly a decade.
Huge badonkadonks, melons, thick milk dispensers, calcium dispensers. Rusty Squirrel, thank you for the prime.
This woman has dedicated her entire life to sitting in front of a screen for days straight as men gawk. While I never personally saw the appeal of watching Twitch streamers for hours on end, no one can deny that Amouranth dominates this space for female streamers. But even though she films every waking and sometimes
What?
even sleeping moment of her life, the public doesn't really know that much about her. So today I want to attempt to uncover who really is Amouranth. With me finding a lot of information people seem to never cover. Let's start simply with what you probably already know from watching any of the countless wiki regurgitation videos on the subject.
Now, before we get into the topic even further, right? I want to say, if you want to, like, do loot stuff, right, and have that be your main, like, thing, sure, do it. Right? But don't be disingenuous about it. Like, don't pretend that what you're doing isn't what you're doing, because everyone knows that you are doing it. And pretending that you don't, and trying to morally high stand, like, how do you say that? Like, it's just disingenuous and stupid.
Amouranth appeared on Twitch in 2016, displaying her intricate cosplaying designs. Her early streams consist of her playing some video games.
Okay, that's good. That is funny.
And dancing around in her house. It would
that
not
is stupid
be until
and funny.
2021,
oh god, I shouldn't
during the height
post
of
you.
the pandemic, when Amouranth
like,
seemed
bro,
to crack the code of Twitch with the hot tub meta,
that's just...
followed by the sexy ASMR meta. After gaining an immense viewership, she launched an OnlyFans that generated millions of dollars a month. While these gimmicks allowed her name to stay in the press, it didn't really generate real or substantial wealth, with the OnlyFans being the true moneymaker. With millions of dollars coming in, Amouranth decided to invest her savings by buying a gas station. Her fans and other content creators were very impressed by this business move that many called genius.
Chat, was it Amouranth? I'm not sure, I think it was. Who made beer out of her who made the beer out of the yeast from her below zero area. Gamma Go Bathwater? No, not the Gamma Go Bathwater. That was, what's her name? That was pink-haired one. Oh, please don't finish that sentence. I'm so sorry, man. I think it was.
Mentioned before, despite being renowned as the queen of Twitch and releasing thousands of hours of content,
whoever called her that?
The streamer's fans know little about her. I've watched pretty much every interview she's ever done, along with several of her tedious streams, only to realize she doesn't really give a peek behind the personal veil. Her reasoning may understandably be to keep her personal life private, which makes sense with the variety of crazy fans she has amassed. But in 2022, things changed. Amouranth went live with a phone call exposing her verbally abusive husband. She alleged that her spouse had total control of her finances and forced her to perform sexual content for Stream and OnlyFans, and that she didn't really want to do all the explicit stuff. Creators were quick to support the victim, and many were interested to see how Amouranth's content was going to change now that she was free from her husband. Yet when I compare her videos before and after her ex, it remains pretty much the same. Amouranth has never commented on this fact and outright refuses to answer any questions about her ex-husband. Instead, when she does talk about her personal life, she consistently mentions her love for
Chat, I quickly googled it. It was Amouranth doing the yeast beer. It's called the Essence of Amouranth.
horses and dream of opening an animal sanctuary in California. Besides what I just summarized here, virtually no one has ever put together the story of Amouranth. Like, why didn't her content change when she said it was going to?
Literally this! She's still doing the same thing. She's still doing the exact same thing. But she said it was her husband who was forcing her to do it. Make it make sense.
Who is her husband? And strangely enough, many people wonder if her explicit videos are fake, but we'll get to that later. To attempt to answer
Fake? Ooh, AI generated?
these questions, we have to start at the very beginning of the story. But before I go any further in today's video, I just want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Factor. For the month of January, I decided to flee the colder weather of Pennsylvania and go down to Florida. And while I'm down here, I don't have as good of a kitchen setup. So because of this, Factor has actually been a great partnership this month because I need some decent things to eat. They're fresh, never frozen, and chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to eat within 2 minutes. All you have to do is go on their website, choose your weekly menu of 35 options, including popular ones such as Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan, and Veggie. Then on top of that, there's 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, and beverages. And when things get hectic in life, Factor is flexible. You can change your order up every single week with plans from 4 to 18 meals. Or just pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. And the best part is, with Factor, you can rest assured you're making a sustainable choice. Factor offsets 100% of delivery emissions and sources 100% renewable electricity for their production sites and offices. One of my favorite picks from this time around was their Tex-Mex beef bowl. This came with green chili cheese sauce and cauliflower rice. Honestly, this tastes better than a lot of things you could get at a restaurant. So if you're interested, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50GFM to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50GFM at factor75.com.
Pretty sure Factor is a daughter company of HelloFresh, right?
To get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Caitlin Michelle Saragusa was born on December 2nd, 1993 in Houston, Texas.
1993? So she is 31 to 32 now.
Growing up, she became close with her older half-brother, who was from her mother's first marriage. When she was only 4 years old, this brother ended up moving in with his biological father, and Amouranth did not see him often after that. She was then left with her other brother, who she did not get along with, and the two of them engaged in sibling rivalry.
And then I was stuck with my other brother, who had like the middle child complex.
Oh, I didn't even know she had an interview with Dr. K.
If you've seen that before, where it's like they don't get the attention of the young one, but they also don't get treated with respect like the older ones, so they just kind of like act out of spite. So he was kind of rude to me until he became an adult.
When reflecting on her,
I mean, that's just siblings, I guess. My sister was always like rude to me, never like had any respect for me, and now like we're chill. Like, that's just siblings, isn't it?
Her childhood, Amouranth describes it as boring. Both of her parents worked constantly to make ends meet. Her mother was a preschool teacher and her father worked in IT, which resulted in them having to leave the young girl alone often. Despite having a dual income, her parents had no money to travel and never took time off of work to spend with their children.
Growing up, I was kind of just...
That still sounds better than my childhood. That...
raised in front of a TV like a lot of kids who had working parents.
While left to her own
That's really not that bad.
Devices, Amouranth discovered her love for solo activities such as art and video games. Having limited ability to interact with people, the young girl grew to love animals.
I'm sorry, but 1.5 million a month, it said something here. She's making 1.5 million a month on OF and Twitch. Oh.
Raised in front of a TV like a lot of kids who had working parents.
While left to her own devices, Amouranth discovered her love for solo activities such as art and video games. Having limited ability to interact with people, the young girl grew to love animals.
My neighbor's dogs would just come up and roll over for belly rubs, and it was just like a genuine connection where it felt like you could actually connect to them without needing to be good at talking. And so animals became like the only thing I cared about.
Every day she would...
Okay, yes. Animals have a really deep connection with a human if, like, on a deeper understanding than just like a human to human. It's an honest relationship, I would say. Sure, yeah.
Spend time with dogs instead of making friends with other kids of her own age. She believes that because her parents didn't have friends over, the young girl never learned how to properly interact with humans.
That's dumb. That's a dumb thing to say. Unless she was homeschooled, that's a dumb thing to say.
Eventually, her parents gave in and got their daughter her very own dog at the age of 12 when she could properly care for the pet on her own. Once she reached high school, she discovered her love for costume design and joined the theater club.
So she did go to school. So, I never had anyone over. I'm not great at socializing. Wait, she may have a point. Huh.
However, her challenges with social interaction persisted.
So I was kind of like, I guess, a social outcast.
And I can kind of like handle being bullied since I was bullied a lot in school for being a nerd before that was mainstream these days.
People weren't like really fond of girls who were into video games. The guys were like, ew, it's a girl who likes her stuff. And the girls were like, ew,
woman.
you like boy stuff.
Amouranth was a very gifted student and at one point was top of her class until she grew tired of keeping her grades up. Despite her declining disregard for her education, she still was very interested in business. Her uncle owned a dog walking company and he would talk to her about his different strategies for growing his customer base. She cites that this is what inspired her to start a business of her own. Upon graduating, she decided to attend a community college. Finding love in dressing up to escape her monotonous reality, she decided to major in costume design. In need of some extra cash, she decided to take a job working at kids' birthday parties.
I will be honest, this is a really good-looking cosplay. This is actually good-looking cosplay. How is all of this relevant? I mean, he's just telling the full story. He's going from the start. That's how it's relevant. Like, having full context.
Dressing up as their favorite characters. She enjoyed the job and knowing how to get into character from her theater background and knowledge of costumes. From a very young age, Amouranth had taken up cosplay and spent hours alone creating realistic costumes to dress up as her favorite fictional characters. Eventually, she saved up enough money to open her own costume character company called the Royal Court Princess Parties. She even began a secondary business, a baby Epona plush, creating her own pattern and sewing each stuffed animal individually. Due to her cosplaying, Amouranth received an interesting proposal from the streaming site Twitch in 2016 at 23 years old. She agreed and became a member, but
Did you say at 20 years old?
Cosplaying, Amouranth received an interesting proposal from the streaming site Twitch in 2016 at 23 years old.
23.
She agreed and became a member, but didn't have much success at the start. Due to this, she found another job sewing costumes for the ballet. Amouranth believes that her lack of success streaming was because most people don't appreciate cosplay or the time and effort she put into the detailed costumes. Instead, she discovered that changing the outfits to be overtly sexual led to a lot more viewership.
And here goes the downfall. Loki reminds me of, on the very surface level, right? Like, of a metamorphosis, how, like, I don't want to completely, like, what's the word? Like, free her of any, like, of anything of her faults, right? But definitely society definitely is a huge part in it, because sex does sell. That is true. But obviously, she made the choice to do it. Like, she made the choice. She didn't need to do it.
For like the girls who would do like the sexy versions of characters. I'm like, that looks nothing like the reference. And then I learned how much money they're making, and I'm like,
Never
sign
mind.
me up.
She then created a Patreon account
That is money.
to where she posted exclusive lewd content.
A lot of the audience on Twitch just doesn't care what I have to say if it's like a serious topic. They just want to see me prance around in my cleavage.
Despite a
Literally. Like, literally. She knows. She knows. Yep, she knows. Of course she knows. 100% she knows.
numbers,
Like,
she was banned from the site
course
in
she does.
2019 when she accidentally exposed herself while playing with her dog. Only 6 months later, she was banned a second time. There was never a reason given as to why she was kicked off this time, but it followed a streamed gym session. Quickly after
Well.
this, she received her third ban, showing a follower's profile picture with inappropriate content.
As I pulled him into a Discord because I was doing like a viewer program or whatever,
Yeah.
and while he was talking to me, he changed his profile to, you know, like a peepee.
Oh my god. Again, I have said this earlier today. You as a streamer are responsible for what gets shown on your stream. But damn, that's a dick move. Damn, that's a dick move, man.
Sweet.
Yeah, so most
Sick.
of the bans aren't even my fault.
Despite her rocky
The third one, again, your own responsibility. That guy definitely has a huge part in that. But the first two were definitely her fault. Like, come on, man.
relationship with the streaming site, the cosplayer would continue on. She still didn't know how to build her audience to the next level, but that was all about to change when female streamers discovered a loophole in Twitch's terms of service. This all started when Amouranth began to notice that many female Twitch streamers appeared in hot tubs, wearing skin.
Here it is. The hot tub meta.
Skimpy bikinis, and they weren't getting banned. At first, the creator wondered how these women were getting away with this, since Twitch had very strict guidelines on what streamers were not allowed to show. However, there was a loophole in the site's guidelines that allowed for women to wear this attire if the content made sense, such as when swimming. Amouranth started doing this as well, but she put her own spin on it. She brought the hot tub inside her house. From there, she would stream for 12 to 13 hours a day, straddling a pickle inflatable. Her numbers began to rise exponentially as she started to make more money than ever before.
I would game in the hot tub, I would work out in the hot tub, I would talk to people in the hot tub, I would have like podcasts in the hot tub.
Even though she experienced success, there were some drawbacks from sitting in water all day long, such as developing chafing and pruned skin. Amouranth was so dedicated, she even wanted to sleep in the hot tub, but her manager refused to allow this due to the drowning hazard.
Well, I honestly don't even understand how you possibly did the hot tub for 12 hours a day.
Oh, it was grueling. I hated that. It's
Couldn't seem to hate it enough to not, like, to stop doing it. The hell? Like, she clearly didn't hate it enough.
so exhausting.
Despite disliking the conditions of the water streams, she began making more money, about $100,000 a month. Surely this made up for the uncomfortable conditions, and she has used this gimmick for everything it is worth, even selling the water for $200 a jar.
She also sold bath water, I didn't even know, man. What is it with people even buying that?
Before dropping the price to $50. This is also around the time that she began to become more well-connected with other content creators. She would host collabs with other attractive female streamers such as Destiny's ex-wife. She then expanded into collabing with adult stars such as Lena the Plug, Adriana Chechik, and Sky Bree. This hot tub meta resulted in several male Twitch streamers being outraged over the site allowing this behavior.
The hot tub meta.
Yeah, because it was there, uncensored, in everyone's face. And because minors can access the site.
It's all over. It's so disgusting. I'm disgusted to call myself a human being when I see other people doing this, taking advantage of things like this.
The reason for their outrage was due to the belief that these women were taking over what was supposed to be a gaming site.
Twitch is no longer and has not been a gaming site in forever. The most popular streaming category is just chatting. So it's really hasn't been like just a gaming streaming site in ever.
Many also felt that it was showing adult content to young viewers.
That is
came
the
to
problem.
Amouranth's defense, stating that the critics were just jealous. Despite
every time, their only defense is they're jealous. They can't come up with anything else. It's just jealousy.
Despite these clapbacks, many still protested against allowing this behavior, but had virtually no success in getting anyone banned. And if they didn't like hot tubs, they would surely hate the upcoming ASMR meta.
Oh my god, I hate ASMR. I hate the sound. I hate the
Well, this
sound.
doesn't seem like inappropriate content.
Bro, and the licking the mic. Why?
It quickly turned sexual when attractive female streamers began licking the microphones for hours a day. This was also paired with a young woman wearing revealing clothing while staring straight into the camera.
Like nails and oh!
Twitch eventually had enough and banned Amouranth for a fourth time. It may have been
the one thing I don't get, how many times does a streamer need to get banned to get permit? Like, what?
Performing this type of sexual content that pushed the streamer to explore more ways to profit off of her body. It was in May of 2021 at 28 that she decided to start an OnlyFans. This is when she began making $1 million a month off of the sexual content.
$1 million a month, chat. $1 million in one freaking month.
With her growing fame, the 20-some-year-old woman began doing interviews with YouTubers who asked her some questions about her background, but she didn't reveal much in response. She has talked about her parents' positive reaction to her job, but that seems really strange to me because at other times she has mentioned that her parents are very conservative Baptists, a group who don't tend to be okay with sex work.
It might have something to do with like my upbringing too, though. My mom was very like conservative and like touching yourself is bad.
As time has gone on, she often talks around questions dealing with her personal life and doesn't seem willing to open up about much.
Yeah, so Kate, you know, I think of all of the conversations I've ever had on stream, this feels to me to be the most incomplete. I feel like we have a lot more left to talk about.
Yeah, like her upbringing really was not bad or anything, man. Like
another contradiction that the creator makes involves posting explicit content.
What's the worst decision you've made in your career?
Probably not joining OnlyFans earlier.
You know what? At least she's honest about it, you know? At least she's honest about that. At least she's honest about that. So far. But the video is called Who Faked Everything, so...
Another thing I guess is when I was first starting off, even though I have like a lot of money now, I kind of wish that while there was less saturation, that I had gone more of a mainstream creator route a little bit. kind of like kept that balance.
Through OnlyFans and streaming, Amouranth developed a large simp following that sometimes turns creepy and even dangerous. One Craze fan went so far as lighting her trash can on fire and attempting to burn the model's entire house down.
What the hell?
She also experienced multiple cases of being swatted.
I've been swatted so much to...
That sucks, man. Okay. With that, I do feel bad for her for that. That's crazy, man. Like, swatting is so immensely stupid and dangerous. People, there have been cases where innocent people have lost their life about it. That's nothing okay to do.
At this point where the cops, they don't even have their guns out anymore. And I tell them, look at my stream too. If I'm online, that I'm not dead, right? And they're still obligated to come by.
How often are you getting swatted?
A few times a month, typically.
Despite this being scary, Amouranth claims that the worst case she ever experienced had to do with a man from Estonia. He allegedly flew to Houston, Texas, and then reached out to the model to give him a ride from the airport, believing that the two of them were in a relationship. When she did not pick him up, internet trolls gave the delusional poster Amouranth's address, and he arrived at her front door with a ring.
React chat, this is peak parasocialism. The guy actually believed he was in a relationship with her. Someone she probably never even spoke to. Chat, this is peak parasocialism. Jesus Christ.
It was really creepy, and the police came. The first time he showed up, they did a restraining order.
Yeah.
And like a trespassing warning, and they like dropped him off somewhere. But then, like a year later, he came back again.
Despite this man being arrested twice for stalking, he appears to still be in the US and comments on her content to this day. This has led the woman to take extreme precautions to protect her safety, such as living in a compound with walls.
I heard you have a safe word for if you need to call 911.
It's actually like a button. I have a red button I press in my vault.
Oh yeah, other streamers have that too. Like that one, she's not the only one. There's like a panic button that you can press and like you can get and like press to like instantly call 911. I think it's more of an American thing though. Like I haven't heard of something like that in the EU.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I run in there. It's like a gun vault with like a bulletproof door.
Even with the obsessed fans, it was beneficial to the OnlyFans model to generate other sources of income. Twitch began cracking down on other booby girls for their sexual content by messing with their ability to collect ad revenue, and shadow banning them from the front page of the site. In 2022, Amouranth needed to find other ways to make money and came up with a crude idea.
Is selling jars, $1,000 jars filled with her farts. Filled with her farts. $1,000. The YouTuber tested that it was ranked, apparently. What?
Yeah. She decided to sell fart jars.
What?
Also, I'm not doing this. Amouranth is.
Chat, should I sell fart jars? Would you buy a fart jar if I sold it for $5? Not even for $5! What the fuck?
People were both disgusted by this business venture as well as deeply entertained. She then sold these jars for close to $1,000 a container.
Okay, so it's marked on the website for the cutie patooties as $1,000 each, but marked down to $4.99. So I don't know what the actual.
My farts went down in value after a while.
Please don't joke that if you want money, I'll give it. It's a joke. It's a complete joke. No, like that's bro. I just no.
I just want to point out that
also let me rewind this
for the $1,000 a container.
Okay, so it's marked on the website for the cutie patooties as $1,000 each, but marked down to $4.99. So I don't know what the actual sales price was.
My farts went down in value after a while.
I just want to point out that Belle Delphine's prices for her stunts were much more reasonable.
Yeah, wasn't it like 40 or something for the water jar for her?
Anyway, Amouranth claims to have made around $100,000 between the scent jars and hot tub water. Not too long after, she was banned from not just Twitch for a fifth time, but also TikTok and Instagram. It was at this point that she had time to try out some other ventures. With her millions already earned, the streamer
Isn't she already on the F? What other ventures does she need?
had an idea to expand her content from just being a solo streamer. This is when she attempted to create a Wipeout-style game show with Twitch creators called Streamer Royale. Despite spending an exuberant amount of money on the event, it failed miserably.
What? Yeah, I never heard of that one.
With her audience. Interestingly enough, Amouranth didn't take responsibility for the show not being entertaining, but blamed the other content creators for the disaster, making it clear that there was behind-the-scenes drama.
I felt like the amount of money it took to invest, because that show costed like $500K to put on. Yeah, for the amount of viewers that you get in return, it was like maybe like 20 to 50K or something. And then the amount of streamers that flaked or just like were like say yes and then they drop out last minute, it pisses off a lot of sponsors. So it's just like too much hassle.
Later that same year, she went on a dating show hosted by Aiden Ross, where she interviewed different men who attempted to smooth talk the streamer into going on an actual date with them. Beyond being boring, it was also a little creepy.
How old are you?
She's just sitting in the freaking bathtub.
How old do I look?
Predict above or below 3.
Oh, pretty close, pretty close. I'm 28.
You are?
Yeah, how old are you? Like 12?
Yo.
It seemed like solo streaming was the most profitable way to make money for Amouranth, and that these other ventures were not paying off the way she intended. Despite getting some mainstream media attention, she hadn't really cracked through to the general public until 2022, when her story finally got intriguing. You see, while Amouranth has always kept a cool demeanor, she randomly broke that facade on October 15th, when she logged onto stream wearing her typical revealing outfit. What was different, however, from normal was that the sound was muted and she was visibly upset while holding a phone up to her ear. Then all of a sudden her audio was cut on, and her fans were shocked to see their beloved Amouranth having a full-on mental breakdown, as a man screamed at her on the phone.
I tried to tell you what I heard from you. And then you called me a liar.
Then you tell me, what did you say?
Her followers were deeply concerned for the woman as the man threatened to kill her dogs and horses, and shut down her accounts.
I'm sorry, but I still feel like this was a stunt. This is fake or stage. I feel like that too, man. Like, especially because she claims he made her do all this stuff. But she's still doing the exact same content still.
Sending all her money to a bird sanctuary. If no call in 1 minute, I will absolutely make sure your horse goes to the meatpacking house. Fans at first were confused by what they were hearing. How did this man have so much access to the streamer's bank accounts? And why was she so afraid of him? When the answer became clear, Amouranth's fans' perception of her changed forever. As it turns out, the cosplayer had been secretly married since 2015, with the relationship having become so abusive that she couldn't hide it anymore. Initially, the Twitch community was quick to support the woman and feared for her safety. This led many to call the police to do a wellness check. I was able to dig up the police reports following this stream, revealing a messy and convoluted tale. As it turns out, Amouranth and her husband got into a very aggressive dispute over the amount of time she streams. The content creator claims that her husband became enraged when she refused to do a show for 24 hours straight. Then, while at a party, she did not answer his text because her phone died, and this is what triggered the fight on October 15th. The model broke down and streamed the phone call, allegedly tired of living a lie because her husband forced her to keep their relationship a secret. The next morning, one of Amouranth's Twitch moderators had the police come check on her. The content creator reassured the officers that everything was fine and they ended up leaving. Then only a few hours later, a man who claimed to be her uncle called the cops asking them to visit the woman again, citing possible domestic abuse. The cops would end up coming to her house 3 times in just one day, on each occasion being sent home as the streamer claimed she was safe. The next day, the police were called again, and Amouranth admitted that she had been fighting with her husband, but she was safe, and claimed that he wasn't at the house. The deputy put out the statement, "I did not observe any indication of physical assault." All while this was happening, Amouranth's longtime cameraman would be discovered as the main person reporting the situation to the police, and then to the general public following the breakdown stream. This camera person, Mars, tweeted out photo evidence of him calling the cops without Amouranth's permission. She did not appreciate his help though, and even tweeted at him to stop, claiming that he had escalated the
Why would she tweet at him instead of texting him? Well,
fighting, and later fired him for trying to gain clout through her situation. Mars lost his job even though the streamer would go on to validate his claims of domestic turmoil.
And so I ran in here to call the cops, and he literally kicked the door in and broke, like, this doesn't even have a hinge anymore.
It wasn't until October 18th, and nearly 4 days later, that Amouranth made a video explaining the situation more, and telling her fans that she was okay and that her husband was seeking help. In the upload, she laid out the claims that her spouse had been forcing her to stream long hours, only allowing her to get 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night, and that he...
Okay, so, let me get this straight. At the start, the story was he got upset because she was streaming so long, but now the story is he wanted her to stream that many hours. So that's already conflicting statements.
Essentially pimped her out, forcing her to wear revealing clothes on the internet.
I just hope that people still watch without so much titty showing.
Immediately, the entire community was sympathetic, as she received tons of support and labeled her husband a domestic abuser.
Well, she was already live, but she unmuted during an argument with her husband over the phone. And this troglodyte sounds like an absolutely unhinged maniac.
However, a few began to have some reservations about her accusations, starting with how she addressed being...
Like, I want to be clear. If this entire thing where the husband did force her to do all the shit is true, that's horrible. And I don't wish that upon anyone. It is, in the end, yeah, an abusive relationship. So if that actually did happen, that's... yeah, it's horrible. I can't say anything else, really. Although I do have my doubts to the validity of this entire thing.
Prostituted by her husband for years, with her comparing herself to an elf slave character from Harry Potter.
And I don't have to wear cleavage every day. I can wear clothes. Master has given Dobby a sock. Dobby is free.
Many felt that she was making too light of the situation, and it initially seemed like her and the husband might be getting back together. Fans were outraged that she would even consider taking him back after the dramatic fights. And following this, Amouranth would never talk about the situation again, going back to closing off any talks of her personal life.
Because, I mean, you went viral for this and you got a lot of hate. The husband situation, are you allowed to talk about that?
No.
That's
Can't talk about that one. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's not surprising that she refused to discuss this, since there are so many unanswered questions that she clearly didn't want to get into. Some bitter simps also began to process the extent they had been lied to. Amouranth got married on December 4th, 2015, meaning that the entire time she was streaming, the content creator had been secretly wed. Worst of all, Amouranth had flat out denied the claim of her being married repeatedly over the years.
So you're not...
Well, of course she's gonna decline that, because it gives people higher hopes if they just spend enough money on the Twitch streamer that they will date him. Which, by the way, is never going to happen, ever.
Married?
No, it's just this stupid thing that they decided to make this fake thing up about it.
It's not uncommon for women with large male audiences on the internet to hide their relationship status because they know they'll lose subscribers because of it. Back in the day, Ethan Klein gave Amouranth multiple opportunities to come clean about the situation in 2021, pushing her for a response, and yet she constantly deflected.
What's your personal life like? Are you married? Are you living?
I'm married to my work, really. I don't really do anything else. Like this, I live and breathe and eat content.
So why is chat saying, people are saying you're dodging the question of if you're married or not?
No. Like, I don't have time for that kind of thing right now.
It's so weird. This is
Wait, she actually just outright isn't saying she isn't.
so confusing. The chat, everybody's convinced that you're married.
A forgotten aspect of the story that I discovered in my research was that back in 2018, the YouTuber L of the Day released a 10-minute video showing pictures of Amouranth with a man he claimed was her husband.
I feel like you owe these people an explanation because you've been scamming their hearts pretty much. Because I'm sure if they at least saw you wear a wedding ring in a stream once, they would have known, but you didn't do that.
The video received a decent amount of attention at the time, especially on Reddit, where he also posted his findings. Amouranth was furious about this, and attempted to silence this creator by getting his video taken down and his account banned for simply exposing the truth.
What? Like, did your DMCA strike him? What happened? Did she copyright strike him?
Even speaking to media outlets about the situation.
I've been spending the last week trying to figure out how I can avoid getting that video removed because YouTube emailed me saying that someone, an anonymous individual, has striked it. Well, not striked it, but reported it as an invasion of privacy, some type of privacy complaint, right?
As it turns out, this YouTuber would be completely accurate about Amouranth and nearly lost his channel because of her desire to keep it a secret. During the 2022 phone call stream, the creator was quick to blame her husband for the lies, claiming that he forced her to lie to her fans about the relationship.
I've been begging him to stage content with me for years. Just fucking stream with me if he wants higher numbers. No, ruin the business model. The illusion. Where?
However, this doesn't line up because in 2020, a man named Nick Lee posted on Twitter that he was married to Amouranth, even sharing a marriage certificate. This would turn out to be the identity of Amaranth's husband. Though upon closer examination, this might just be a troll who figured out his identity back in the day and nobody noticed. For a second, I thought it might actually be him, though, because the deranged behavior would line up with what is known about him from the controversy. Not much is known about Nick, other than he was born in Taiwan in 1983, making him 36 as of writing. He likely met Amouranth through cosplay, as the two of them often attended events together. Fans also began to question her claim that he forced her to work long hours and didn't let her sleep. Since following the massive blow-up, Amouranth returned to work, streaming as consistently as usual, and complaining about her lack of sleep.
Saying all these things about her husband and basically saying that the husband forced me to do all of this, she went back to the OnlyFans, back to the topless sort of streams, the hot tub sort of streams, and radio.
She even took part in the Black Bar matter. But hey, she's being forced to do it. Hey, chill cats.
Silence from the entire internet. Nobody bothered to do an update on this because that would sort of go against the entire narrative that everybody wants to push.
And almost immediately after declaring to no longer want to wear sexy outfits, she engaged in the censor bar meta. Fans were quick to call her out for the sexual nature of the stream, but Amouranth clapped back on Twitter stating, "It would be selfish and irresponsible to do a 180 at a moment's notice. I gave 60 days notice to my lewd content staff, letting them know they could find other employment, but they're..."
Sure. That's... I'm sorry, but I can't take this serious. Like, if she hated the content so much, this wouldn't matter. Obviously she didn't. And obviously she wasn't forced to, in my opinion anyway.
Positions would be locked in for 2 months. Well, it has been 2 years since she gave the 2 months notice, yet the adult content creator continues to regularly post on OnlyFans and engage in revealing streams. Jumping forward, recently some Redditors have discovered that Amouranth may not be divorced at all, as there seems to be no court records of it. While on Financial Audit with Caleb Hammer, he discovered that she still owned the old house that was purchased by Nick's dad. When questioned about this, she claimed it was used as office space.
I'm thinking about moving them all to the main house. I'm just trying to get that space figured out first before I just decide to kick my own staff out and start renting it out.
Sure.
And then you got to have like stuff moved, because I still kind of use it as a storage facility too for my stuff, because I didn't want to just move all my stuff that I didn't need per se.
Even Caleb seemed to find it strange that she hadn't moved her employees to her Texas mansion, but he didn't push the streamer further. Now, the legal system is incredibly slow, so she may be going through the process of divorce still, but I was unable to find any evidence that Amouranth had ever officially filed. The streamer has never once claimed to be divorced, nor has she said specifically that she would be filing. The only thing we do know is that she kicked Nick out of the house and that he was in therapy. It's unclear what exactly Nick's role was in Amouranth's OnlyFans empire. Some say he starred in her videos originally, while others claim he worked behind the scenes as an accountant. She revealed to Aiden Ross and Young Gravy once that she had multiple men who star in the videos.
If you don't feel comfortable, you can pick something up.
Relationally, one. Collab-wise, I don't know how to quantify that.
Collab-wise? Wait, so you only have one body?
For relationships, yeah.
Okay, but like outside relationships. That's the question. Thank you, baby. Yeah.
These men are paid actors by Amouranth, and she does not have a meaningful connection with any of them beyond creating OF videos, meaning that perhaps her husband had an agreement with her to sleep with other men for business purposes before the falling out. With Amouranth streaming with a rotation of men, some speculated that one of them was the rapper Young Gravy. The theory starts by pointing out the two were first seen together in a hot tub with Aiden Ross.
Holy shit, she's actually so short. What the hell? I thought she was taller. Like, on camera, she looks taller.
And then went together to the Streamer Awards. The same night as the award show, Amouranth posted on OnlyFans
on her own camera, she seems taller.
An explicit video of her with a man in the shower. While the man's face is not shown, he is wearing a Hawaiian shirt, which is a trademark of Young Gravy. The two went on to collab in a music video together, along with the mysterious YouTuber Dream. The last inconsistency in this whole husband drama involves the reasoning behind her desire to make money. At first, she claimed that Nick wanted to get rich and was forcing her to put out content. But when the relationship ended, she had enough money to retire, but decided to continue to produce content because she wanted to open an animal sanctuary.
My inspiration for my animal sanctuary is a little more bittersweet. I didn't have many social experiences growing up. I kind of just made friends with animals and stuck to my own little room.
She stated that once she has enough money to keep the shelter running, she would retire for good. Well, as of 2023, she claimed to have made $57 million, but said it still wasn't enough. Caleb Hammer called her out on this, stating that she had already hit her goal.
You know, if that $45 million was just in the overall market, $45 million, and you withdrew 3% for the rest of the year, which means it'll pretty much never run out, that would only be $1,350,000 a year in guaranteed income for the rest of your life. So you already hit the goal. If you're in the overall market.
He did the math. He was like, you got the money. So, what's going on? You said you need enough money? Here, you have enough money.
I would have to finish my investing, my private equity to be able to get that much, actually.
In an attempt to perhaps get people to talk about something other than her husband, Amouranth decided to release a beer that was made from her own vaginal yeast called Essence of Amouranth by Yoni. This beer cost $22 plus delivery for just one bottle, but it gave her more media attention along with her new adult device, a mold of her nether region.
Rumor has it that part of your vagina is in this beverage that I'm drinking.
Oh, it's not rumor. It's factual.
How is?
Because
why is he drinking it?
My yeast, and then they grew the yeast, like the culturing of it.
She also began to get involved with boxing, going to the gym more seriously than in the past in order to train. Amouranth announced to her fans that she planned to fight in Spain against a woman named Maichi, a Spanish streamer. This ended up not happening when Amouranth announced she had ovarian failure and had to undergo surgery. Despite her attempts to steer clear of drama, she found herself in some hot water when fellow adult star Adriana Chechik randomly began exposing her during a stream for the oddest of things.
Everything is fake, like literally.
Yes, I've been subscribed.
Yeah, so you know that all the BG videos, it's not real.
Yep.
Yeah. So
BG videos.
Yes, I do.
This isn't the first time someone accused Amouranth of strategically using angles to make sexual content look real when it wasn't. From what I ascertained from these online coomers' complaints, they claim not to see any real penetration since she blurs and conceals her nether region. If true, this means that Amouranth has been able to successfully charge large sums of money to her simps for videos that don't actually show anything. Adriana seemed upset over this because Amouranth had won adult industry awards for physically faking it, which could have gone to more deserving sex workers.
I committed my life to this. You don't slide into it like a cheap pair of slippers and then reap all the rewards.
Despite her bad blood with the adult star, Adriana did stick up for Amouranth when two female streamers named Indie Fox and Dan Dangler hatched a plot to expose her.
Wait, let's finish the video first.
Chechik after Amouranth was banned from Twitch for the 6th time. They offered for her to come on a podcast to talk about the infamous streamer and for Adriana to expand more upon the comments she made. This backfired horribly for the two mean girls, as Adriana released all the messages and publicly called out the women in a tweet stating, Dan Dangler hit me up with a text from Indie Fox trying to get me to do a podcast with her to bring Amouranth down. Like, no, I said she was mean, but I'm a grown woman and it's not my job to defame anyone. Indie Fox and Amouranth,
that honestly is that's a pretty mature statement. Sure, yeah.
Have a long-standing feud as they were seen as competitors during the hot tub and ASMR metas. In the end, Amouranth managed to supersede Indie Fox as top creator because following this stunt, she was permanently banned from Twitch. Amouranth went so far as stating that it was her who baited the rival into the ban by getting her to push more boundaries for attention. As of recently, Amouranth has decided to leave Twitch because of all the bans and signed a $30 million contract with the platform Kick. She recently became Brandon back.
Bro, she just has to be addicted to money. I mean, that's my takeaway from this entire thing. That she just wants more and more and more money. That's what I'm understanding from all of this.
Ambassador for 2 adult companies. She also invested in Wildcard Gaming and is also a co-owner. As for her personal life, I don't think she will ever share the truth behind it. When asked about having kids, she seemed pretty dismissive of the concept.
And you don't know if you want kids yet?
Yeah, I don't know, because I never wanted them growing up, because my family was kind of poor, and so I never wanted to have to say no to a kid for financial reasons, but now I make so much money that I don't really have that excuse anymore, but because I've never imagined myself with kids, now I just don't know if I want them.
To be clear, it's not because people aren't reaching out to her. Even Kanye West has tried to hook up with the illustrious streamer. While nothing ever went down with Kanye, it's clear that Amouranth...
No way. Chad, you've seen the recent stuff about Kanye, right? Like his crash out? Like, what is this?
Amouranth knows how to draw attention to herself. Despite all of her attempts
he said Kanye.
Get more engagement around her name, she always seems to go viral for situations she never addresses. And that brings us to current day, with there still being a lot of unknowns involving one of OnlyFans' biggest stars. Considering she spends $7,000 a month scrubbing her content off the internet, it's no surprise she's been able to stay relatively secretive. If one thing could be said about Amouranth, is that she's extremely consistent. Having filmed non-stop for the past 8 years has given her a devoted fan base, even if she seems...
Yeah, she's done this, from what I remember, after the entire husband thing, by the way, so...
seems to have some animosity towards them. At the end of the day, I don't think we'll ever get a straight answer as to why Amouranth doesn't just go and take her millions to build a dream animal sanctuary and leave the World Wide Web behind her. But I have a feeling that deep down she simply enjoys doing it and doesn't actually want to change.
I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it.
To put
it, she's definitely, you know. Here's a link to the video. To me, definitely seems, in my opinion, right? From my understanding, there might be some truth to the entire husband situation, but she's definitely doing it on her own too, man.